So I've been complaining about comics a lot recently, and I've also been seeing a lot of other people complaining about comics, saying that everything sucks right now. DC, Marvel, Image, there's nothing good. But there are some good comics. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of bad comics as well, but there are also some good ones. And the way you get more good ones is you point out the bad ones and call them out, and then you praise the good ones. That's part of how this works. So today I'm going to be running through my list of comics that I really enjoy and I think you should check out if you're looking for some good comics to read. If you think everything sucks, if you're just like everything is horrible, check out one or two of these and give it a try, see if you enjoy them. So without further ado, let's get into it. This is in no particular order other than like my company. I'll go by DC, Marvel, and then Independent. So starting off with DC, we got Action Comics. Now, if you've been watching my videos, you know I am not a big fan of what they're doing with Superman's son, John, with that book. That book is horrible, but not everything's bad with Superman. Action Comics is actually really good right now. I'm enjoying it a lot. Very few complaints. They just started this epic new event that is going to be the Warworld Saga. Philip Kennedy Johnson, who's the guy that wrote The Last God, is writing this, and he's a man that is very good at doing world building, and he's adding a lot of world building to Warworld and Mongol, and he's just going balls deep in it, and I love it. If you like his style of writing in The Last God, you'll like what's going on here with Mongol and Superman, and I'm excited to see where it goes. We've just had build up to it, and now we're actually at the event, and I'm excited to see what goes here, and the art by Daniel Sampier is fantastic, and also in January, I believe, Riccardo Federici, the artist from The Last God, will be taking over on art duties, and he is fantastic, one of the best in the biz. So yeah, if you're looking for an epic new Superman storyline, check it out. It's really good, and he's going to be elevating Mongol even more, because he's a guy that I've loved Mongol. I think he's a really cool villain, but in the 2000s, he hasn't really had much to do. He kind of just shows up, has like muscle, and then gets beat up. But prior to that, like with Superman Exile, he was actually a competent, really cool villain, and now I think we're going to see Mongol soar to new heights. So yeah, check out Action Comics. My next book is Robin, a book that I didn't think I would like very much because I'm not a big fan of Damian Wayne. I like him when Tomasi writes him or when Grant Morrison writes him. Anyone else, I'm just like, I don't like Damian. He's like my least favorite Robin. He's really annoying. But Joshua Williamson is going to be added that list of people who I will check out if they're writing Damian. Joshua Williams doing a great job. This is sort of an Enter the Dragon style Robin book. If that doesn't sell you on it, I don't know what will. They just take a bunch of, I wouldn't say the greatest fighters in the DC universe because there's a few of them that show up, but a lot of them it's like, why is that person here? But the premise is that a bunch of the best fighters in the DC universe show up on this island. They have a tournament, and this island's called, I believe it's the Lazarus Island, to where you have like 3 lives. So, you know, if you die, you can come back to life. The island will resurrect you. So they have this tournament, and then, you know, a lot of the times when people die twice, they're like, I'm not going to fight again because I don't want to lose my 3rd life. So Robin's trying to figure out what's going on with his island, the people that run this tournament, and he has like a colorful cast alongside him, including Connor Hawke, who is one of my favorite legacy characters. I love seeing Connor Hawke back and getting some love. And yeah, it's just a really fun book. Again, Robin with DC characters, Enter the Dragon. There you go. That's my pitch. Check it out. Next up is a Black Label book, or a Bat Label book, I guess, because every Black Label book is Batman. This book's called Batman the Imposter. It's being written by Matt Tomlinson, I believe is his name, is the guy who's like co-writing the Batman movie, the new Batman movie. He's like co-writing that screenplay, I believe. And the artist is Andrea Sorrentino, who I have been singing his praises ever since I read the Green Arrow New 52. He is fantastic. He's so good. One of the best, if not the best. Him and Gary Frank are like always alternate for my 1 and 2. He's so good. His art is fantastic, and it's always like really trippy and cool looking, and his panel layouts are next level. Just like for the art alone, you should check out this book. That's why I did, because this guy's, you know, a guy that writes movies. So I was like, I don't know if that necessarily means he'll be good for writing comics, because a lot of people that come over from movies suck at writing comics. So I don't know, but I'll check it out because Andrea Sorrentino's doing the art, and it turns out the story's actually pretty good. It's intriguing. Right now, this is Elseworlds, by the way, complete Elseworlds. So there'll be some things in here that I won't spoil, but that happen, you'll be like, but that character would never do that, but it's Elseworlds. So you got to remember that. Anyways, in this, the basic premise is that Batman is going around being Batman in his early career, and then there's another Batman that is killing people. And Batman's trying to figure out who that is. It's another person that's just being an imposter. That's what it's called, Batman the Imposter. And they're using his mantle to go and kill people. And, you know, everyone, like, Gotham's kind of torn on Batman. Why is Batman murdering people? What's going on? And Bruce is trying to clear his name and figure out what's going on. And also during all this, you have Leslie Tompkins playing a huge part. She is basically Bruce's psychiatrist, and she knows that he's Batman. And they have this thing set up. This happens, like, within the first couple pages of the book, so I'm not spoiling anything here. They have this thing set up to where he meets her every day at, like, 6 a.m. exam or something for therapy, and he has to tell her what's going on with Batman. Otherwise, she reports to the police because she's not really sure about Bruce. She's like, I don't know if he's like mentally okay, and I'm his therapist, and I've like been like a figure for him his whole life, so I'm kind of trying to look out for Bruce, and I don't know. She's kind of in this rocky, weird situation where Bruce is just full on, bat mode. And there's also the implied where it's like, is there really an imposter, or is Bruce so crazy that he's actually like kind of two minds and he goes off and kills people, but he doesn't even know it because he's kind of like in this weird Two-Face type mode right now. You don't know. That's what we're trying to figure out. We're 2 issues in right now, but I've really enjoyed it. In the second issue, it really hits its stride because the first issue had some pacing issues where it splits up the story, but the second issue, the 2 characters that split the story connect, so that helps with the pacing a lot. But yeah, really enjoying it. Check it out. And next one is Deathstroke Inc., Deathstroke Incorporated. This is a book from Joshua Williamson as well. I'm really having a lot of fun with this book. The first issue I liked. It was a good setup issue. Second issue, I honestly was not that big of a fan of. It was kind of filler. In the third issue, we're finally getting to some stuff. So there's this new organization that Deathstroke and Black Canary joined for different reasons. I won't reveal Black Canary's reason, but Deathstroke's reason is basically that his whole comic career, his whole career in comics has been kind of sitting on the line of, oh, I'm a bad guy, oh, I'm a good guy, I'm a bad guy, I'm a good guy. In this, Deathstroke's like, I want to full on actually try the good guy thing for once and see where it goes, because he's kind of lost right now. And I really like this because that's how Deathstroke is in the comics. From a reader's perspective, the character's just lost with all the crap DC keeps doing with him. They just throw him in everything. If you guys know, I'm a huge Deathstroke fan. He's my second favorite comic book character just behind Superman. And DC hasn't really known what to do with him. The Christopher Priest run was highly overrated, and there's a lot of dumb stuff in that, but they haven't really known what to do with Deathstroke. They just throw him in there when they want to elevate a new character, so they're like, oh, have him beat up Deathstroke, and he's just like, Deathstroke looks cool, throw him on the cover, he'll sell a few more copies. But now I like this direction where he's actually trying to do something decent, and also Joshua Williamson's voice for Slade so far is really good. He sounds like Slade, and yeah, I'm just enjoying it. They're working for this company that they're kind of I can't remember the name of it. I can't remember. I'm sorry. The company they're working for is another like Argus type deal, whatever place. Not in terms of cloning or anything, but just another big shadowy corporation in the DC universe, and they're supposedly helping people. But Black Canary and Deathstroke are trying to figure out really if this new heroic company is actually trying to help people or not. So there's this mystery element, and they're trying to figure it out, and they're sending them on missions to take people out. Like in issue 3, Deathstroke goes to take out Cheetah, and Cheetah was in contact with this person that set her up with this magical world where she's been tormenting the people in this medieval magical world where there's other cat people like her, and Deathstroke rides there was a horse or a unicorn and fights her and stuff in knight armor, and it's really fun. Anyways, yeah, read Deathstroke Incorporated. It's 3 issues in. Again, second issue wasn't that great, but first and third are definitely worth checking out. Next up is DC vs. Vampires. This is a book that I did not expect to like. I was honestly it looks interesting. I really like Deceased. I feel like this might just be them trying to cash in on Deceased. The writers are James Tynion and Matthew Rosenberg, 2 guys that have written things I have liked and written things that I have not liked. So I was like, I don't know, but Otto Schmidt's on art, and I loved him on Green Arrow Rebirth, so I'm like, I'll check it out for Otto Schmidt at least. And it's surprisingly good. There's an element here that I don't want to spoil, so I won't. But the thing that separates this from Deceased, because a lot of people when I bring this up ask me what is it like Deceased? The main difference is that in Deceased, it's all out apocalypse, zombie apocalypse, and this, the vampires are slowly spreading in. So some people are vampires that the rest of the DC universe doesn't know. So this guy that's a part of, we'll say, the Teen Titans, is a vampire, but the rest of the Teen Titans, just like everyone else, doesn't know. So they're slowly trying to kill people or turn other people into vampires and blah blah to build up their army to take over. And so it has that aspect to it, which is really cool. And also one of my favorite parts of it, he hasn't played a big role yet, but in issue 2 we see a little bit of him, is Green Arrow figured this out before a lot of people, and Green Arrow is soloing it right now, hunting vampires. It is sick. Green Arrow is out there because he knows, and you might be like, why doesn't he tell Superman or something? Green Arrow doesn't know who's a vampire and who's not. So Green Arrow is taking it to himself to go, and I'm going to figure out who the vampires are and kill them. And it's really cool. Again, it's only been a small part so far. I'm assuming it's going to be expanded and the more issues we get, because we're only 2 issues in. But in issue 2, seeing Green Arrow go out and kill people and not be in contact with the with the rest of the DC universe is really cool, and I love that aspect of it. And yeah, it's just fun right now. And also Batman's got his Bat family on it because someone contacted him to let him know about this, and so he's trying to figure it out as well. And it's really good so far. It could go downhill. This is issue 2 of 12, so 2 issues in, it's good. If by issue 6 it sucks, don't blame me. The first 2 issues are solid. Now on to Marvel. First off, we got Bounty Hunters, which is the best thing in Star Wars right now. It's just a really fun book, and it's written by Ethan Sachs, the guy that did Old Man Hawkeye, which I've talked about how good that book is a lot of times in the past. And he's doing a fun Star Wars book right now with Bounty Hunters, and it's got a main character who is an original character, not someone from the movies or the TV shows. And I love that. And that means that there's at least a little bit of mystery here of what happens to this guy. Because, you know, when you read this main Star Wars book and it's got Han, Luke, and Leia, and it's like, oh, I like those characters, but I know what happens to them. I know what happens to both. Like, I know what happens to everyone. With Valance, the main character here, you don't know. And like I've said before, he's essentially Space John Hex. Each issue is just him getting himself into a horrible situation and then trying to figure out a way out. And he's a really likable character. It's just a fun adventure, like action adventure Star Wars book. If you're looking for something good Star Wars and you're mad with how everything Star Wars sucks right now, read Bounty Hunters, give it a shot. And then next up, we have probably the best book at Marvel, which is Daredevil. I am reading it in trade, so I just read volume 6, which was admittedly the weakest volume of the series, but still good. Check out Daredevil. It's written by Chip Zdarsky. Marco Cicchetto does the art most of the time, but they have a lot of fill-in artists. And it's a really solid book. Zdarsky is definitely going to be up there when you're talking about the best Daredevil runs of all time with how good he's doing right now. Sadly, his Daredevil run's going to come to an end soon. I believe early part of 2022. He's doing like a whole Daredevil event and stuff. But as of right now, it is really good, and I love his Kingpin as well. Kingpin's like I believe mayor of New York City, and so he's kind of plays a big mayor or governor of New York. I don't remember. One of those. He's a big political guy in New York. Anyways, so he's kind of like giving up the Kingpin role, the Kingpin of Hell's Kitchen, to someone else, and he's like more big picture guy now, and he's trying to like stay out of everything, and it's really interesting. It does retread some stuff that we've seen in previous Daredevil runs, like Daredevil going to prison, and also, you know, Kingpin not being a villain technically, but it does it really well, and I'm enjoying it right now. And again, I am reading it in trade, not issue to issue, but as a trade book, it reads really well, and I like the use of Elektra in it. There's a fun part in volume 6 to where Matt goes to prison, so Elektra promises to patrol Hell's Kitchen while he's gone and be the Daredevil of Hell's Kitchen, so she agrees not to kill people, and during it, she's fighting people, and the whole time in her head, she's like, Matt is an idiot. If I could kill people, this fight would be over within half a second, but I have to fight like Daredevil, and I can't kill people. And it's like, it's really fun. And yeah, just read Daredevil. Next up is Thor. Thor is a Donny Cates book that I enjoy for the most part. Each big arc has been good. The filler issues you can skip. So we had the Black Winter arc at the beginning with Galactus, which I really liked. I thought was really good. And then we had a Donald Blake arc, which was really cool, where Donald Blake came back and was like trying to take the Odin Force from everyone that has ever been Thor and had some Odin Force. That was really cool. And then we've had kind of a slip of just like filler issues that aren't very good and I don't care about. But now we're back onto a new arc. I believe it's called like the God of Hammers arc. I have it actually sitting like right here. Yeah, it's this right here, issue 19. It is God of Hammers starts here. Yeah, that's it. Good arc so far. So, slight spoilers for the beginning of Thor. Like, we're 19 issues in. So, anyways, in the beginning, we see that Mjolnir has kind of lost its enchantment to where anyone can pick it up. You don't have to be worthy. Anyone can pick up Mjolnir now. So, Thor has been having all these visions. He's the king of Asgard now. If you didn't know, he took it over from Odin. He's now king of Asgard, so he feels a lot of heavy weight on his shoulders. But anyways, he has these visions of like stuff happening with Mjolnir, bad things happening. So he gives it to the Avengers, and he's like, "You guys watch it. I don't want someone to come and like take it from me. Bad things to happen." Well, someone steals Mjolnir. I'm assuming it's the God of Hammers is the assumption right now. He needs to find out who stole it. So that's the start of this arc, is he's trying to find Mjolnir. He's going out there and he's got to find Mjolnir. He goes and he recruits his dad Odin to try to figure out, and he also got Throg on the case, and Throg has his whole like band of merry pets going out and trying to find Mjolnir. So it's really good so far, this new arc. Again, if you haven't read any of Thor, read the arcs, skip the in-between filler issues. And also, we got Nick Klein back on art, who is fantastic, and he does the big arcs. He doesn't do all the filler issues, so that's another reason to skip the filler issues. And now I'm moving on to the only two indie books I'm currently reading. Both are written by Jeff Lemire. The first one is May's book. He is also doing the art for this book. May's book's really good. I don't want to spoil anything, because the less you know about this book, the better. Essentially, the premise is this guy whose life was torn apart by his daughter dying now has reasons to believe that she might be alive, and mazes are involved, and he has to figure out how mazes interact with his city to try to get to his daughter, and there's a lot of things going on, and it's really good. Also, it's in this like sort of more prestige type format, and it's like 40 something pages each time. It's more expensive because that's like $6, but it's really cool not having like a story end just when it's getting good at 22 pages. Like each issue has a lot of room to breathe, and I really enjoy that. I like this format, and Maze Book's my favorite independent book that I'm reading, but I'm only reading 2. The other independent book I'm reading is Primordial, which again is written by Jeff Lemire, and the art is done by Andrea Sorrentino. This is the same guy that's doing the art on Batman Imposter that I was talking about earlier, so you know the art is fantastic. This is about back in the day when America sent monkeys to space and Russia sent a dog to space, and it's like, what happened to them? Apparently they went through some trippy stuff with radiation and like dimensions, and really weird things happened to them. But also there's basically an A and B plot. You have that plot of the animals in space and what happened to them, and then the other plot is what's going on with the American and Russian governments and why they did this stuff and what their plans are. And it's really interesting. It's another book that, like, there's some mystery there, so I don't want to spoil anything, but it's definitely worth checking out if that small synopsis gets you interested. But yeah, that's about it. Those are some good books I highly recommend you check out. At least check out 1 or 2 of them if you're looking for some good comics to read, or you could just always read back issues, you know, there's that. But I just want to make this video because it's not all bad. Now, it's not all great. There are plenty of bad comics, but it's not all doom and gloom, because I see a lot of people out there that are constantly just talking about how everything sucks, DC sucks, everything's horrible. It's like, yeah, there are some bad things, but if you want the good, you can't just bury it all in the bad. You gotta acknowledge that there is some good too, so that way we get more of that. Like, I want more of Joshua Williamson writing stuff at DC because his Robin and Deathstroke books are great. You gotta acknowledge that. You can't just talk about how terrible Tom Taylor's doing with Superman. You gotta talk about everything. But yeah, guys, that's about it. Please let me know in the comments down below what are some of your favorite books you're reading right now. I want to hear from you guys if there's anything I left off this list. And yeah, I just want to make this because it's not all doom and gloom. There are a lot of bad comics, but there are some good comics as well, and I think it's just as important to praise the good books as it is to call out the bad books. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.
Hey, skinny boy, saucy boy, I be running to the bank. Yeah, you know I hit the gas in the whip full tank. Riding past the ocean while I'm listening to Frank.